Welcome to The Good Woman Awakens. This is a space for women who were taught to be good, but were never taught to be whole. Here, we do not perform empowerment, we examine it. We look at patterns, we look at conditioning, we look at the roles we were trained to play, and the identities we are ready to release. This is not about blaming men. It is not about bitterness. And it is not about noise. It is about awareness, emotional sovereignty, and the quiet courage to see clearly. If something feels uncomfortable here, well, stay with it. Awakening is rarely loud, but it is always honest. Let's begin. You were praised for being good, not expressive, not bold, not difficult, good. And for a while, being good felt like love, because when you were good, you were approved. So you learned a quiet equation. Good equals safe. Good equals chosen. Good equals peace. Now listen. There is nothing wrong with being kind, nothing wrong with being gentle. The danger begins when goodness becomes a mask you cannot remove. When goodness becomes self-erasure. When goodness becomes silence, even when something is wrong. Jung would call that mask the persona. A persona is the social face we learn to wear to belong. And for many women, that persona is the agreeable woman, the forgiving woman, the woman who doesn't make a fuss, the woman who holds everything together. The world rewards that persona, but the inner cost is often invisible until midlife. Because whatever you cannot live through the persona moves into the shadow. And the shadow is not evil. It is simply the parts of you that were not permitted. Your anger, your refusal, your standards, your hunger for reciprocity, your need to be seen. So you become nice and depleted, patient and resentful, helpful and invisible. And you don't even call it resentment. You call it tiredness. Now let's connect this to real life. The good woman often believes, if I do everything right, I will be loved properly. If I serve enough, if I forgive enough, if I pray enough, if I keep the peace enough, then surely love will become safe. But goodness does not guarantee safety. Compliance does not guarantee loyalty. Sacrifice does not guarantee respect. Let that settle. Because many women have been taught the opposite. Here is where self-silencing matters. Dana Jack's work on silencing the self describes how women suppress self-expression, especially anger and needs, to preserve relationships. That is the good woman strategy. Don't rock the boat. Don't trigger conflict. Don't be seen as difficult. Don't ask for too much. So the good woman's body carries what her mouth never speaks. And over time, the body pays. This is not just psychology, it is physiology. When you constantly suppress anger and needs, your nervous system stays in a low-grade alarm. You look calm, but you are bracing, and that bracing becomes chronic stress, which becomes exhaustion, which becomes brain fog, which becomes that quiet feeling many women describe. I don't know who I am anymore. Now let's bring in family systems. In many families, a girl becomes the peacekeeper. She learns to read moods, to anticipate needs, to smooth tension, to keep harmony. That role is rewarded. You're so mature. But maturity should not mean self-abandonment. So she becomes an adult who can manage everyone's emotions, except her own. This is the good woman's hidden wound. She learns to be connected by being useful. So she fearfully asks, without words, if I stop being useful, will I still be loved? And that fear creates overgiving. Now the generational layer. Some of our mothers had fewer choices. Endurance was a survival strategy. Silence was sometimes protection, so we honor them. But we also update the strategy, because what protected your mother may imprison you. Here is the hard truth. The good woman identity often collapses when you begin to set boundaries, because boundaries disappoint people who benefited from your self-erasure. They may say you've changed, and yes, you have. You are integrating the shadow. You are reclaiming your no. You are allowing anger to become information, not shame. Now, let's define anger properly. Anger is not sin. Anger is not aggression. Anger is a signal. It signals violated values. It signals crossed boundaries. It signals unfairness. It signals self-betrayal. When anger is integrated, it becomes firmness. When anger is suppressed, it becomes resentment. Now here is the Stoic tool for the good woman. Seneca speaks of slowing belief, training yourself to be slow to believe the first emotional punch. In your life, that means when someone is displeased with your boundary, do not rush to rescue them from discomfort. Pause. Tell yourself, their disappointment is not an emergency. Their displeasure does not define my worth. Their reaction is not proof I am wrong. This is differentiation in action, being connected without being controlled. Now, practical. If you were trained to be good, try this sentence this week. I'm not available for that. Not angry, not apologetic, just factual. And notice what happens inside your body. If guilt rises, it is not proof you are wrong. It is proof you are unlearning. Let's close with dignity. You do not need to stop being kind. You need to stop being afraid. Afraid of disapproval. Afraid of being called selfish. Afraid of being seen. The sovereign woman is not rude, she is clear, and clarity is kindness to your future self. If you were trained to disappear to keep peace, I want you to hear this gently. You are allowed to exist loudly enough to be respected. Notice what resonated, and notice what resisted. Both are information. Sometimes what unsettles you is not attack, it is recognition. You cannot change your past. You cannot rewrite the years you overgave. You cannot undo the times you stayed longer than you should have. But you can change what you tolerate now. You can change what you explain away. You can change what you excuse. You can change the standards you quietly lower to keep peace. Awareness does not make you cold. It makes you clear. And when a good woman becomes clear, she stops negotiating with patterns that cost her dignity. She stops mistaking endurance for love. She stops calling emotional labor devotion. She stops trying to be the reason someone else matures. She turns inward. She stabilizes herself. And from that place, her choices change naturally, not dramatically, not angrily, quietly. Until next time, stay conscious, stay steady, and stay awake.